Hello there and welcome to a fresh episode of the program Last Week in Nigeria. My name is Emmanuel Oriowo. On this program, we get to bring you stories that were reported by the national dailies last week in Nigeria. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles using @LastWeekInNigeria to get in touch with us. Like, share, and of course comment if you like. Let us continue the conversation about our Nigerian project, because on this show, what we intend to do is to help Nigerians connect the dots of the stories that were reported by national dailies the previous week on this program. You can also follow us on our YouTube channel, like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification button so that you can get our subsequent episodes. Let's begin this way. Last week in Nigeria, a lot of stories were reported. We'll take the little we can take, because there are a lot of intriguing ones there. But as usual, what we'll try to do here is to bring you a summary of the events reported by national dailies last week in Nigeria. I begin with the Daily Independent newspaper, the Sunday edition. It says, how Army Police DSS frustrated attempt to demolish Bayero's Nasarawa Palace. And that was reported last week in Nigeria. The Guardian had this one. It says, significant heroes of June 12, President TINUBU ignored on Democracy Day. In other words, some people are feeling like the president didn't do much about honoring heroes in the past. Sunday Tribune reported last week in Nigeria, and it has to do with the ravaging cholera disease, which is already reported in over 30 states of the Federation. Cholera. Surveillance shifts to schools, markets. That's the way the Sunday Tribune put it last week. And of course, we have it also on the front pages of the national dailies talking about cholera. We need to keep our environment clean. We need to maintain hygiene, and of course make sure that we look out for each other. So let's stay safe, stay alive. Of course, we've heard that a lot of numbers are being recorded in terms of suspected cases. The number of death toll as regard cholera disease is beginning to increase. We hope we get out of this quagmire. Collapse of LG structures threatening Nigeria's democracy. That's the way the Sunday leadership captioned it last week in Nigeria. Kano, Rivers crisis, presidency in quandary over legal political solution. That's what's reported by Sunday Telegraph. And also from the front page of the Business Day on Sunday, Onitsha River Port, 3-time commissioned, yet marred in politics. Can you imagine when you have a project being commissioned 3 times? A big question in the mind. Obi loses grip over Labour Party as crisis worsen. That's the way the Matrix newspaper captioned it. Business Day has this one. It says 200 Nigerian politicians, security officers own $1 billion Dubai properties. 200 Nigerians, as reported by the Business Day newspaper. CBN stress tests FX markets, reform stops BDC funding. That's the way the Guardian newspaper captioned it. And the Nigerian Tribune last week also reported saying that how corruption added 15% cost to food bulk products importation, says a report that was widely reported by national dailies last week, especially the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. The New Telegraph reported COT, bank customers lament frivolous deductions, sharp practices. That's the way the New Telegraph captioned it last week in Nigeria. And for the Blueprint newspaper, commercial gold boosts Nigeria's foreign reserves by $5 million US. Injects 6 billion naira into economy. The Abuja Inquirer has this one, and it says, Abuja murderers leave residents in panic. The Punch newspaper had this one. Dangote alleges IOCS frustrating refinery. And of course, last week in Nigeria, we also heard that the refinery went up in flames, just like, is it a flaming moment for us? Because you recall that last week also, the Christ Embassy headquarters on Oregon in Lagos also went up in flames. And still in the same Lagos, we have the Dangote refinery going up in flames. The Dangote refinery management already said all is in place, that it was just a minor thing, that it's in check, that they are up to the task to take care of that particular flame we saw. But though, if that is happening before the commencement of the full capacity operations, one will want to ask questions. What are we doing concerning hazards like this? National Economy has this one concerning the minimum wage, and it's boldly written on the front page saying, Labour's 250K demand unsettles FG state private sector. Also, we heard that last week, governors decided to meet concerning this new minimum wage to know what they can do. Don't forget that at the FEC meeting, Mr. President decided to step down the issue concerning the minimum wage, and he said he wants to go for further consultation. Apparently, that will be with stakeholders, whether state governments can afford to pay, whether the federal government also can afford to pay. What they want to pay, we don't know yet. Don't forget, the federal government is proposing 62,000 naira. The Labour is saying we stick to 250K as a minimum wage. And that will not be a minimum wage for some people, that will be the living wage. But either way, Nigerians need them, at least they need to upgrade their take home so that it can at least take them home. Because for now, most Nigerians are not being taken home by their minimum wage, which is 30,000 naira. It's due for review. Let's see how the government goes about that. More stories for you. Still on Last Week in Nigeria. The Daily Sun newspaper reported last week, and it says, TINUBU admits inheriting security compromises, historical injustice. That's the way the Daily Sun newspaper captioned it. And the Business Day last week also reported crude shortage threatens Dangote petrol supply takeoff in July. Purchase of new presidential jets insensitive, profligate, says PRP, saying wants TINUBU to step down projects, ask FG to focus on delivering tangible benefits to Nigerian people. That's the way the Daily Times newspaper captioned it last week in Nigeria. Last week in Nigeria, the Daily Trust newspaper reported saying that Shettima to Sokoto government, Sultan must be guarded jealously. Don't forget, tongues were wagging last week concerning the place of the Sultan of Sokoto and the federal government. And Kashim Shettima, who unfortunately lost his mother-in-law, had to be in the country home of the family in Kano, and he got a visitation by the federal government through the likes of the chief of staff to the president, talking about Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, who paid him a condolence visit. And right there he said, speaking now, Kashim Shettima, he spoke and I quote him, and he said, TINUBU loves the northern leaders, that they should stop peddling that rumor, considering the fact that he gave key position in the security apparatus of this nation, looking at the security architecture of this nation, that he gave so many tangible offices to northerners. That means he has a love of the Nigerians at heart. So he's not a sectional leader, he's not an ethnic leader, he's a leader for all and sundry. Still moving ahead with more stories in the course of the week. Though this is supposed to come on the entertainment gist, but guess what? I can't leave that quickly. Talking about the biggest society wedding of this year. Talking about DAVIDO and CHIOMA. That happened Monday, Tuesday, and the internet went agog to the extent of distracting Nigerians. Somehow, Nigerians were even worried about what is our present situation. Is it just about the Chivido, hashtag Chivido, that we'll be talking about? But the internet went agog for that. When we get to the entertainment gist corner, we'll get to bring you more of what went down concerning that societal wedding. It's trending like wildfire. Also last week in Nigeria, the Blueprint newspaper gave us this particular one, saying that 432 billion naira fraud. El Rufai sues Kaduna Assembly, seeks 1 billion damages. The case is in court, so we can talk about it. And we have this one, Drop Your Arms, Embrace Dialogue, COAS. That is talking about the Chief of Army Staff advises agitators, others. That was reported by the Daily Times newspaper. The Guardian newspaper, high cost of care hits public hospitals, uninsured patients. And the Nigerian Tribune last week in Nigeria says, I designed my shoes. We're speaking here, Oni of Ife, Oni of the source. And that will take us straight to the entertainment gist. Let's go deeper on what went down last week in Nigeria. The society wedding, just like I mentioned earlier, hashtag Chivido, came with a lot of intrigues, came with a lot of stories. Some bad belly people talk, say, well, some artists didn't show up. But come to think of it, what if they have their own private engagements? He had a wedding and it went well. Congratulations to you, DAVIDO and CHIOMA. Of course, we know the honeymoon has been ignited, and we wish you a great time having your honeymoon. But a lot of stories went down with that particular wedding. We had a surprise by Olamide showing up for one of his own, and we had net citizens talking about the fact that some A-list artists were not present, the likes of Portable, the likes of Burna Boy, the likes of Whiskey. We saw some videos about Portable lamenting about what went down. All manner of issues went down with that particular wedding. But guess what? I love the moment where we saw the attendance of his uncle, the executive governor of Osun State, where we had a dancing governor, the way they call him, showing up for his own nephew, talking about Ademola Adeleke. Of course, we had a lot of people in attendance. The likes of the former president of Nigeria, talking about Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, was also there. You know, quite a number of A-list dignitaries graced that occasion. Once again, we say congratulations to you. And of course, I love the video about the fact that the car presentation, wow, that SUV is massive. And people are already saying so much about the car. But well, it's not our business on this show. I asked us to report what went down last week in Nigeria. About 7 governors attended, 26 politicians, countless musical artists, lots of celebrities, and countless millionaires and billionaires, including Davido himself and his dad, all attended his wedding. Of course, why won't he be there? He's the groom, of course, and that will just never go down in a hurry. Hashtag Davido 2024. For sporting gist, we have this one last week in Nigeria. Indeed, his wage demands too high for Marcel. So many other sporting gists, as we have it, that Napoli to consider £100 million offer for OSIMHEN by Sporting Sun. Well, on that note, we want to appreciate you for being there. Let's do this again some other time, precisely next week. And this week, look out for short videos as we get to celebrate our celebrities posthumously and those who are still alive on their birthdays, because we have a lot of them having their birthdays this week. Look out for those short videos. They'll be dropping, and that will take you automatically to our website where you can see more of our episodes. On behalf of everyone here, we want to appreciate you for sharing your quality time with us. Don't forget to subscribe to all our social media handles at Last Week in Nigeria. Log on to our website www.lastweekinnigeria.com and turn on the notification bell on our YouTube channel. Share, like, comment, and subscribe. Until I come your way again next week, God willing, bye for now, and have a great week ahead.